del gruppo dei conservatori e riformisti europei la parola all'onorevole Legutko.
Thank you, Mr. President, Prime Minister. Well, this, as you can see this or hear, this chamber is hopelessly predictable. The title of your speech was the future of Europe, but apparently no one is interested in the future of Europe here, but they are indulging in the favorite pastime, which is Poland bashing. You could have just as well recited Shakespeare's sonnets. That would have exactly the same effect. And yes, you can see how it's difficult to get through with the arguments, because there is a thick wall of lies, half-truths, mystifications, like this ridiculous story about arresting a man for carrying roses. I mean, it just boggles the mind, you know, when one hears something like it. And every day, you know, we have to do with such idiotic stories that are absolutely groundless. And and this also shows that this chamber, I think, is, as I said it before, it's completely resistant to listening to arguments. I mean, if you never hear counter arguments. You hear, you know, heckling, booing, you know, mud throwing. I mean, that's the usual reaction. So there is a very deep, I would say, refusal to know here in this chamber, and this, you know, I can continue making a more general point. I mean, you were talking, Prime Minister, you were mentioning a democratic awakening in Europe. Yes, there is a democratic awakening, and at the same time there is an increasing number of people who say that the European Union is going in the wrong direction. It's over 40% now, in some countries above 50%. And here, I came here and I listened to this self-indulgent and self-serving comments. We are so good, we are so responsive to citizens. Are all these people insane? I mean, are they all being fooled by some demagogues? No, the reaction of these people is the final effect of what is being said and done here. I mean, this arrogance, this self-serving arrogance is becoming more and more unacceptable. So yes, I think that when I hear about the separation of powers in Poland, the problem with the separation of powers. I mean, come on, we have a commissioner who is representative of the executive body, and the commissioner is telling the Polish parliament, the Polish courts, what to do with this and this law, or how this law should be changed. Is that a separation of powers? Is that an example of separation of powers? There's a blatant violation of the separation of powers. You see, that's a debate European Parliament style. I suggest that you start putting order in your own house. Yesterday, we were prevented from having an exhibition on Józef Piłsudski, one of the founders of Polish independence. There is a censorship. This is not the first time. There is a well-established practice of censorship in this Parliament. And you seem to be quite serene about it. You do not really care, because this censorship serves the interest of the majority. People are being punished here. Fortunately, recently court reversed the decision of the European Parliament, but that continues. So I suggest, before you really start finger pointing Poland, please make this House more open and more receptive place for all points of view to be debated and considered here. That's my request. I know that has no chance whatsoever, but I just had to say it.
Onorevole Legutko, siccome mi ha chiamato in causa per la vicenda Korwin-Mikke, le volevo ricordare che io ho inflitto una sanzione a questo parlamentare non perché era polacco, come